So now we move on to our next panel discussion with industry leaders providing an insight into screen representation across borders. The UK actor pathway to India and Indian actors wanting to work in the UK. This will be hosted by Deep Rajay Dir. Deep is an experienced broadcaster and media professional. As head of current affairs at Lycra Radio, Deep Raj's role in producing one of the radio's most popular shows also includes interviewing guests from all walks, from the royals, leading politicians, actors, and artists. Before heading current affairs at Lycra, Deep was also the producer and presenter at Dilse Radio. He was the producer and presenter of the Talkback Show also. Joining him is Kavino Nagulendren. I hope I said that right. Kavino is the producer and director of Maya Media Production Limited. She has over a decade of experience in film production in both the UK and India. She's worked with the top names in the industry, and she's particularly passionate about creating a pathway for women who want to start a career in the film and creative industries. Next up, we have Naila Mughal. Naila is the founder of NM Entertainment, NM Bollywood Castings Agency, and is a UK Bollywood industry veteran. As a production, events, and hospitality management leader, she excels in casting, events, and film production services. And next up on the panel is trained actor Vaibhav Anand. He's the son of veteran filmmaker Vijay Anand. He's also the nephew to the legendary actor Dev Anand. Recently starring in the international globally acclaimed film Chalte Rahe Zindagi, Vaibhav is poised to make waves in the global arena with his new British web series based in London and Brighton. And lastly on the panel, we have Subito Sarkar. Subito is the owner of Flame Visuals Limited. It's a film production company which has produced over 40 plus feature films in London. With experience of directing over 300 plus TV commercials and music videos, his recent directorial projects include Hindi films such as Operation Mayfair, which is on Netflix, Victor, alongside Bengali movies such as Prem Ki Bojini. Guys, would you like to come on the stage? Thank you.
And a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Deep Raja. For all of those who don't know me, I do a drive time show on Leica Gold, where we have classic Bollywood hits. That's not old, that's classic, yeah? And it allows you to reminisce the times of your first job, acting time, studio, whatever it, and that's what we're going to do. So before we go forward, I'm going to go straight in, and I'm going to ask my lovely panel here who've been introduced to keep your answers funny but short, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to be discussing, which everybody's, I think, in the room had an experience with, and that is either getting involved in film in some shape or form, getting involved in acting in some shape or form. So my first question to you, sir, is, one of the key things about coming to Britain or even going abroad as an actor is joining an agency. The agencies are the people who are going to try and promote you. The agencies are the people who are going to try and put your name out there. But it's not that easy, is it? I can see heads nodding. It's not that easy, is it? Getting an agency involved, getting people to put you on your books, getting things done. So my question is, how do you go about joining an agency? How do you get the chance of being selected to actually make a film? And whatever, no one other than a filmmaker himself. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Shudipta. It's easy, but it's also difficult. Because you have to go on knocking the door and it will open one day. Because the more you knock, the more people you know, more contacts you make, it brings confidence in you. And then you need to know the right people, like Naila, like she's a casting director. So you need to know the right people. And even if you don't know her, you know somebody, she will know somebody, you know. The networking is very important, and not giving up is very important, I think.
Yes, you know I'm a casting director now. You register with good agencies. It's very important to get on board with right agencies. I'm one of them. And meet the right casting directors. And make sure that you are ready as an actor. You're confident. You've done your right training. And because when you're on that stage, you can have a lot of people around you to support you. But when you're actually on the stage, you're on your own. So you're the performer. So just be ready for that. And, just do your best to meet many people, the right people. And, when it's your time, it'll happen. And sometimes it happens by luck, by meeting the right person. Sometimes it happens because of your talent. So there's no right reason or wrong reason.
Hi, I'm Kavino. Just as everyone said, I think networking is one of the most important things I would emphasize, only because sometimes you don't need to be part of an agency, although it's amazing to be part of an agency. You could find the right contact through networking, and then you will come through the side doors. So it's obviously important to have a show reel, it's important to have networking, it's important to have a good agency assigned, but also you continued working on yourself and making that connection through every possible way.
Hi, I'm Vaibhav, and I think I agree with her because it's also part of building your own portfolio. And if there's some work that you are doing, you showcase that, because what the casting agents and talent agents require is what the director requires. So if you're in sync with that, then it's a win-win. And obviously you have to persevere, there's no other way. And I'd also say be optimistic, because when you walk in the room and there's a certain confidence, they look for that rather than someone who's a little hesitant. That pays a lot in the long run.
Very good point, sir. So it's basically trying to get yourself out there, but I think from what I'm hearing from you all, it's to do with actually giving that determination and banging on that door. Fair enough. Now, we're talking here about representation in the UK, and we're talking about representation, maybe even actors in India. It's a really sort of umbrella word, isn't it? Representation. So I want to go around the panel and ask, what does representation mean to you? Now, just because perhaps you may have an actor with a South Asian face or a South Asian name or something, doesn't necessarily mean they're the best ones for the role, but we see a lot of that going on in certain areas. What does representation mean to you?
So from a filmmaker point of view, as a director or producer, I look at the script, I look at the character, and sometimes I tweak the character to fit in some actors, or I know that we can we sometimes play a bit easy, like, okay, if we get a good actor, we can sell the film. So sometimes we change a little bit to get, say, depending on the market. But overall, we look at good actors. We look at good performances. And I think in today's global, like OTT platforms, you can see products everywhere. The color of the skin is not relevant, really. It's more if you look the part, because sometimes we don't identify. I mean, I have casted a lot Italian girls and Spanish girls to play an Indian actress in TV commercials in UK, because we didn't had those girls. So, but nobody knew that. So it's easy. I mean, in that way, that if you forget that umbrella off and think that, okay, I'm an actor, and I want to go and meet people and do the correct one, maybe you will get more options on that.
Right, so.
Sid's answered a lot of the answers. So me, as a casting director, so we get like casting requirements from the direction team, and then we have to go through that and basically see who fits the role. So all the actors that we're representing, we see who's going to fit into that part. And then those are the ones that we put forward with pictures and with a show reel. And then we go down deeper down where we'll get lines, like a few lines from the script. And then the actor would go through that and send a video. We then send that to the director, and then they pick the one that's right. Sometimes they do it while they're still in India. Sometimes they want to come down and we do like a casting day, audition day, where the actors come in and the director picks that way. And sometimes it could be like I have my own team member. We're just with the direction team and the director doing castings. And next minute, your own team member gets selected for a role. That happened on Animal. Yeah, my team member just got selected. So you just don't know. That could also happen as well. So there's various ways of getting selected.
Representation for me is authentic storytelling. It's about how you actually, as a director, as a producer, how do you authentically tell a story? So it means that we also have a cross-culture in terms of how we brand our film at the later stage as well. So it really matters in terms of how we authentically tell the story.
I don't know about representation in India. It's like a Mumbai local train when everybody's crowded at rush hour and heading for the same stop. So it's not really representation in India. It's more like a Russian roulette. कि कमरे में आओ और if you suit the role, then निकल जाओ. And who you know and what you know and how you know. That's pretty much, unfortunately, where India is with representation. But casting directors and reputation abroad, because I had my experiences in LA, are on the basis of naturally your talent in terms of your scope and how you fit the role.
Correct.
And what will you bring to the project, as she has just specified. And it doesn't matter whether you're, of course, in today's world, whether you're Asian or British or American, but the story requirement is representation. So if you suit that story, and if you're good enough, obviously, then that's it. And then you get an agent that says, okay, this guy or this girl is bankable, and I'm willing to represent him or her. Vice versa. That's it.
Interesting point. Did you want to come back on that very quickly?
Yeah, very quickly. I think the branding itself is also very important. It's like there's so many involvement in terms of how we finalize on a character. It doesn't necessarily have to be that it's financial decision as well in terms of how we globally represent a film, isn't it? So it's not just one thing. It's many. It's
a number. Okay, so we're hearing here, that, or I'm getting a sense that it's not just about a face, or it's a lot about who you know and where you go in the industry, which is pretty common. But on the back of that, let's move on a bit. You want to say something about that?
It's not about who you know. It's always sometimes happens that you trust because you know. So if Naila comes to me and says, I've worked with this actor and you think you should look at him, you know, there's a little bit of biasness there.
So a relationship building.
Yeah, so it's not, maybe I don't know that actor, but because she's pushing, and maybe she pushes an actor because maybe that actor had done good job with her before, you know.
But then sorry to interrupt, but looking at that point, or taking that into account, if we take our lovely audience as well, sometimes to build up a relationship with actors, producers, casting directors even, it's not an easy business to do. How would you actually create that relationship?
So you network, or I think the easiest way is to build a body of work. And you don't need to go and get a big job. You can make a small film, short films, now YouTube videos. A lot of these YouTubers make more money than big filmmakers because they're so fantastic content creators. I get inspired. A lot of times I see on Insta show, you know, the reels that there's a couple, they're making their own life, but they're like snippets of life which touches everybody. So anybody can now show off that, yes, I have this skill set, I have the storytelling ideas, or I can do this. And then those things start catching the eye. You can start with there, you can do a short film, then it leads to another small role. You cannot become a big star on one jump.
Interesting points. Okay, I want to move on now because obviously the life of an actor or actor is harder than a lot of other professions. Often they have to face a lot of rejection. Often they have to face a lot of letdown and things where they think, oh, I'm going to get that role, this is going to happen. Do you feel that people from South Asia representing, perhaps wanting to work in the UK, have to work that much harder, not just to prove themselves, but in the industry to really, as you've said, and as a lot of you said, to create a relationship where they can be trusted to work within films? Do you feel that they have to work harder to get this to the same level?
You want to take it first?
No, I think it's
We'll go around the panel. Please,
easier.
we'll take it
It's
that way.
easier here than in India.
In what sense?
In the sense that it's more professional. When you talk about relationship, you don't need a relationship. It's professional. And if you make it a relationship, there's something wrong with that. You come on the table with your work, and if you suit the character, you can have any, color doesn't matter today, hopefully, I think so. You know, so if you suit the character, it's as professional as that. They'll go and see you in a play, they'll go and see you in a street play, they will see you on TV in an ad. And they'll say, okay, there's something about him or her, let me call him or her, which has happened with me, whether it's self-taped or in the room, and see what he's giving me. If not, then it's over.
Okay, how do you feel?
And a lot of the actors obviously are on Spotlight and IMDb as well,
Yeah.
you know. So there's a lot of platforms out there. So when we're casting, and if there's a particular character we're looking for, and I don't have that character on my agency, then we do go out and look at different platforms. And Instagram is so big nowadays as well, you know. We've actually casted actors that we found through Instagram. So the platforms are so huge now.
So are you saying this sort of we're all on a one term, is it?
I don't agree, because we still have a glass ceiling where UK is concerned.
Right.
It's not on your face. It's not like, oh, go away. It's a polite refusal sometimes. I faced it a lot when I started off, because I came in to become a director to direct Hollywood movies, which I might do. But the journey to go there was difficult. And then we don't have to, I think I was hearing Taha speaking just before, and he also mentioned something which is correct for all of us here, is that you cannot let it go. You have to go on throwing the mud on the wall, and one day it will stick.
Kavino, do you want to add to that very quickly?
Yeah, it's the
Don't let go, that's true.
Kavino.
Cultural barrier. I think that's one of the significant facts of the challenges of an actor, and obviously the financial barrier. Every professional job has its own barriers and challenges. I think it's about being persistent. It's been persevering in, continuously pushing through that closed door. We're going to find problems and challenges everywhere we go. It doesn't matter. It's UK or India. I find that it's a lot to do with your own insecurities and issues that you think are actual problems.
But I think India is difficult to break in than UK.
Did you just very, very quickly want to add
an
on?
actor's job is basically a dead job. Because
What is a dead job?
A dead job. There's nothing to do. You just get up in the morning, go to the gym, look your best, and then go for auditions. So it's not a 9 to 5 job. You cannot...
Well, the life of an actor isn't...
No, but it's a fact, because a lot of actors go into psychological depression when they don't have work, because there is no work. You can't sit on a desk and
So I ask again, and
which is
I'll
why
press on this. I'll press on this.
No, mentally, you have to be extremely, extremely solid up there.
So
to face rejection.
do you feel that really people who are like the life of an actor, the life of a producer, getting funding, do you feel we, if you like, have to work that much harder to get the same level as people?
It's the same, you just don't have a resume. You can't walk in and say, I've done this, because the casting director will say, can you match the role?
I've got to keep these evidences brief, because I've got a couple more questions. But very quickly, go ahead.
I have something for you, actually. So obviously there's a lot of platforms out in India. There's so many productions out there. I have a lot of actors from India that want to be represented by me, my agency, and they're in India. And I'm wondering how it's going that direction.
Sorry, what?
They want to be represented by me from here for India.
For India?
Yeah. So
Let's keep this very brief.
I don't seem to understand that how it's going that direction.
Right, in one sentence, I'd like you to answer that.
Obviously, you'll have a casting liaison in India that will be able to guide you which role they'll suit. And in India, the language is very important.
Yeah.
If you talk British Hindi, it won't be acceptable.
Yeah.
It's
So
unfortunate, but that's the language, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
India's
I'm
more
going to
Hindi,
stop it
Tamil.
there, but that's because I want to move on, because you're actually asking a question I want to move on to, and that is looking at Bollywood film industry, looking at Bollywood now. We're seeing more and more European women, especially coming into like dance scenes and things like this, and maybe even glitzing the films up. But if I was to say to you, do you think that by having European people and dances and glitzes in these Bollywood films, it's in a way representing the West in Bollywood, like we represent, say, some of the East in Western films? Do you think that's a factor? I'll ask you first. Go ahead.
Every male will say yes,
Philippa.
because Katrina Kaif is a good example, being not Indian, being British, and made a name there. And yes, there is a fascination about fair skin. But then that's also stereotype, but because it also comes down to also performance, because I think there's a lot of movement happening between both the worlds now, because a lot of films are being shot here, and a lot of these UK-based producers, directors go to India and work. You know, I mean, I'm not talking only Indian directors, like mainstream, sometimes like Gurinder Chadha or Dev Patel. They have gone and worked. They made their new recent films there. So there is a cultural interaction. But again, saying that performances, the language, the way you speak, the accent, all those matters, because.
Would you like to say? I'm going to go around the panel on this one.
Yeah, so basically here, depending on the script as well, there's requirements, especially in UK, for different ethnicities. And it's because it's a requirement for the film.
So does it really represent, or would you say, no, it's just part of the film, having European people in Bollywood films, vice versa? Is there some kind of, are we helping promote relations between representation and stuff, or no?
What would you say, Sid? I feel it's because it's required.
Kavino, let's
yeah,
hear from you.
I think you're talking about BFI. Yeah, the points system that we have. Yes, we do have that requirements where we need to have a British actor to go through the subsidies and all that. But that doesn't mean that they have to be white-skinned or anything. It could be a British Asian as well. But what I'm thinking, it's a global. It's a global market. When you actually bring in an international person in, it's a global market. We're opening up the film to other people, other cultures. So which is a benefit to our Indian cinema. That's how I see it. It's only when the ratio goes a little bit higher, then we're hiring less of our Asian people, then that's a problem. But at the moment, I feel like it's not an issue so much. They're coming in to do the acting part with bikinis or whatever. That's been done by our heroines and, our female actors. So I don't see.
Vaibhav, how do you feel about that?
I don't really understand the concept of, white women dancing on Bhangra in the Hindi movie, because I think it's more of just making the city bajao concept. But there are certain niche films where the requirement of a British actor and Indian actor, an amalgamation through the story, is also reaching a larger audience. So it's a good sign that India is also rejecting the typical dance numbers and having a little bit more patience, because the Indian audience has no patience. So having a little bit more patience after Corona to watch these movies. So the tide has turned somewhat because of global content that's flowing into India and being dubbed in many languages. So as an example I can give you quickly is that during COVID, or maybe after COVID, my maid, I have a staff at home, she was seeing Squid Game in Hindi. And she loved watching that rather than going for a movie and paying 1,000 rupees plus the popcorn, plus everything else, because she said this was some strange entertainment, but it was dubbed in Hindi. So there's slight change that's happening there. So I don't know much about these item numbers, whether they're still.
So look, on the back of that question, on the back of that question, what you're saying, would be saying that our directors today, our movie makers, really pandering more to the audience rather than doing what they want in order to make money. Is that the reason?
There is a big change happening in India, and some of the cinemas are also shutting down because the movies are not giving the box office results. You have the PR agents which are doing their job, but the box office results are nil. And there are a lot of articles coming up, including in NDTV recently, because audience says, give us content. And it's a lot of money, it's 1,000 is little today. It's almost 2,000 rupees per movie. So the experience ain't cheap. You rather sit at home or watch on your phone and better content, which is more feasible, more economical, and you get greater value for money. So if Indian film industry can match that for the new audience, then there is a chance. If they can't match it, then they're stuck in the void right now.
Sudipta, how do you feel about that? If the new audience, if the new directors can match what Vaibhav is saying to their audiences, do you think that the Hindi or the Bollywood movie industry will start to change?
Actually, just to interrupt you, I don't mean by Bollywood. I mean, if there is intervention by the Indian government, then you create an industry. Because Bollywood is only one part of India. There's Tamil industry, there's Telugu, there's Bihar, there's Punjab.
Okay, so on the back of that, would it change?
See, I think we generalize it too much. Like, even if you look at the English, the Western films, there is independent films which are very content-driven, and there is these Marvel comics by superhero films. So I think those big dance numbers like Jawan and Pathan are almost like those Marvel comic films, which has an audience. But if every filmmaker tries to make that, then that's what's happening previously a little bit back, because everybody wanted to get those big top 5 stars and put everything same song, same dance, same fight, and then it's just a different name. So people started rejecting that. The reason is that they have a better choice now as a content seeker, because they can go into OTT platforms, and they, as you say, that people can watch other languages.
It's dubbed in 25 Hindi languages,
yeah,
Indian languages.
I had a very, like a strange experience. I went to Calcutta, my parents' home, and I saw a Bengali article on Fauda, a release. And people, I said, why will somebody in Calcutta see Fauda, which is in Israeli, is Hebrew and Arabic? And then I realized people had been saying that.
Well, wonderful show.
So it has broken those, and there is no cultural connect, So I think you have to be content-driven, and the producers, directors are understanding that.
Kavino, I can see you sort of scratching at the plaster once you come in there. What would you like to say? You need to put the microphone in you.
Yeah, I think it's actually all about the global appeal, isn't it? So they've said it.
Naila?
Sid covered it all. Yeah.
Wow, Mr. Sid, you've really done well there. Okay, moving on. We've got a point there. Well, let's move on here. One of the key things that I see, and I look around the audience as well, we're all lovely people, but we're all not supermodels, and we all come in different shapes and sizes. And the biggest thing that a lot of people have asked me on my show, for example, is when you look at a Bollywood film, when you look at representation of a lot of the Asian community in India, in England, you see very, very few, if any, actors with disabilities, people with disabilities. Yet we've all, a lot of us have somebody in our family that have had to have medical treatment. Do you think, why is that the situation, that there is a lack of disability or disabled people or different styles? I mean, they're all, so why? And B, do you think that there is time now that Bollywood representation, actors coming to Britain will and should change their attitudes? We'll go around to Sid.
Yeah, actually it's a moral issue more than a business issue, because from a business point of view, you should cast based on the character, but then also on the star value when the producer demands that. But if there is an actor who fits the role and has some disability, shouldn't stop him or her working on that. But again, it's a mindset where people try to reject that. But there is already people are doing it. There are a lot of representation happening across. Like there was a time where people who were into LGBT and all that, they used to be shunned out, But now, I'm only talking from Bollywood point of view.
Yeah.
They accept that. And then even sometimes politically, if some actors and directors have a certain political view, they were not getting jobs from the competitive other side. But now it is less. You can still do the work and keep aside those, aspects.
Naila, how do you feel about it? Do you think that it should change, or we should have more representation in the disability world?
No, I mean, I feel like those people in that position feel that they can't come forward.
Why?
They feel that they don't have a chance. So maybe we need to change ourselves and open up more to them and bring them in. That's what I feel they're holding themselves back. I had met somebody once who had a disability, but I did get that person a role. We had to the director was quite understanding, and we just adapted to what that person could do. I'm not going to name the person.
No, of course not.
We just adapted to that person and made it work, and we built the confidence for that person. And for me to put the smile on that person was a big thing for me, that, we shouldn't just ignore it, and we should give everybody a chance.
So are we saying that it's our responsibility as perhaps casting directors and producers to openly look at actors who are trying to represent India, trying to represent Britain, trying to work here, that may have a slight disability, may not be fitting the super duper slick gentleman, woman or something, to go in or not? Is it our job or their job?
When we're saying the super fit, just remember now we have so many platforms, Netflix, Amazon, you name it. It's not all about just a hero or somebody who's good looking. It's all about characters as well now, because now with the content making, there is opportunities for all different shapes and sizes. You also see some actresses that in the past may not be able to come back because they're aged, they're married, or they're just a character now. But look, they're coming back.
Absolutely.
They're coming back. Look at the actors out in Hira Mundi. Come back. So now it's changed. It's not all about just being a pretty face.
Good point. Kavino, it looks like you want to say something about this.
Yeah, I think we have to go all the way back, I feel. It's like it's increasing the awareness, starting point from the screenwriting. So you can't just bring a disabled person into a script without it being in there in the first place. So we go back all the way to the beginning where we're writing the script, and then it has to be taught to the producer or the person, financial, to say that this could also work. So it's not just about writing it, but it's also about funding it. And then from there on, finding the artist to actually do the role. So whilst I avoid saying Bollywood because I'm from an educational background, so I say Indian cinema because it covers everyone.
Why not?
And South India, like if you go to the Tamil down south, they do a lot of this disabled characters in their films. I think you guys should go and explore if you haven't already, Telugu and all the south. And they have loads of variety of characters, and they've made it really huge success. Vetrimaran, there's a director, he's bringing so much, authenticity into filming. It's not just about commercial filming anymore. That's a different part. So therefore, they're bringing more diverse characters. So it's about exploring, it's about writing more inclusively.
But when you look at films made for an audience in Britain from India, maybe, say, Sid Cumming making a film, and that, how diverse a crew or cast are we actually getting? I'll put that again back to you, Kavino. Are we getting enough of a diverse representation, shall we say, of cast?
I think that goes back to what Naila said. It's in terms of confidence. It's about an individual person. It's about finding these characters. There are scripts everywhere. It's not just about cinema, isn't it? It's about YouTube. It's about every other platform there is. You can't say there's nothing there. It is there. It's about building that confidence. It's not enough. I'm not going to deny that. It's not enough, but there is there, and there's also that part where you need to build that confidence to actually bring yourself out, to actually do the part.
Very quick, Riz, because Vaibhav hasn't had a chance to come back on this, and then I will come back to you, Naila.
Just very quickly, short films as well is part of this. Some actors represent themselves through short films to get seen.
How do you mean? When you say short films and representation, what? Because they're not getting work? Because they're finding it hard to find casting? When you say short films, what do you mean?
Some are doing it because they're not getting work to showcase their talent.
Okay, lovely point there. Weber, sorry to keep you.
You mentioned the South film industry. It's very supportive of each other. It's very closely knit, and they support one another, they support good stories, and there's an audience for that. The Hindi belt, there isn't that audience for that. And even when you create the characters, which, for lack of a better word, I think you might challenged or
challenged, yes.
Out of respect, I thought that was the best. You have to create a character with the right support and the right backing, as Naila and Kavino pointed out. So that starts with the story, starts with the drawing board, and then who's going to back it up, who's going to support that, and then put it on. Because to be very honest, there's a very little audience for that, because we still want to live in a very magical realism world. So you have to create that bracket, which, coming back to my point, even the British film industry has done successfully, even America has done it, and the South film industry has done it, because there is a support system. And the audience goes for that. So, you know, it's a complete package. Even if you give these people an opportunity, make sure someone sees them. As Naila said, they create their own videos, and then someone will say, oh, this has touched my heart. Let me pick it up. But is it for a global audience, or is it only for Instagram?
Please.
Sometimes it depends on the director. You will know this, Sid. And no matter what actor you're putting through from UK, it's just not happening. And then you have to go wider. You know, I've even had to
Well, let me put that to you. Why is that not happening?
I can't answer on behalf of the director.
Sid, why do you think that's not happening? They're putting effort, they're giving you CVs, they're giving you talent, but still they're getting the door, unfortunately, not opening. What is going wrong?
Yeah, I did 2 films last few years, and the whole film was shot here. And maybe we got like 4 or 5 actors from India, but at least 20 from UK. So it was mix of Indian and British Caucasian actors. But the problem I faced was we don't have enough good actors. The pool, the reason I tell you...
I'm going to stop you there. What is a good actor? Because, I mean, that's like saying representation. What, in your opinion, out there, we've got a lot of talent, we've got a lot of people really thinking they're good. What is a good actor?
Yes, I have thought about it, and because I make film here, I need to find out a solution. And I understood that there is a person who is actor, or he wants to be actor, but they don't go through enough practice, or they keep their skills alive. They get into a day job, of course you have to live your life, and they just expect that one test will get us through. If they start doing short films, other contents, because in India, people who are crazy about being actor, even if, I mean, Mumbai is much tougher to break in, they're constantly putting stuff on the, the social media. So they're the match fit, as you call it.
Naila, I can see you biting your tongue here. Go ahead.
This is a very big one, so I wanted to bring it out. You may be an amazing actor, fantastic actor, but why can't you can't speak Hindi well, and that is a blow on the face.
Effort is not there. You know, as he said, people, I mean, why will somebody who wants to become a Bollywood actor won't take the effort to learn Hindi well? You know, go to Hindi school.
Well, let's have one person speaking at a time, because if we all speak together, we're all going to get confused. Got that point? Naila, just finish off your point very quickly.
Yeah, so basically we have a lot of actors here in UK, but many of them can't speak Hindi properly, they're not fluent. So that sometimes become an issue, and that's what we in this country really need to work on. Actors, any actors out there need to really polish up their Hindi, Urdu. You know, that's the point that I struggle on sometimes, where the director really likes that person and we have to work on their Hindi, or they have to dub them. So it's a big thing. And when actors ask to be represented here, either they moved here or, they're willing to come and work in UK, it's a plus point for me. But I would really like to change the people, the actors here, and advise them that if you want to do Bollywood films, you really need to work on the language.
I'll put this to Kavino very quickly then. On the back of that, it does work the other way around, doesn't it? For example, there's a lot of people that would speak English with a particular accent, not just an Asian accent, but from the north of England, south, and find it hard to perhaps be represented. I'm going to give it a little chance to Kavino to answer. Do you think that perhaps the same problem is happening to people with regional accents who are not necessarily born and brought up in India, and they're facing representation as well? Problems, please?
I think, it's part of that challenge thing, isn't it? We all face some sort of challenges. It's about what Naila said. how much are you going to put into your own effort into getting into that character and making that your main mission to actually go and fulfill? And I think part of the problem also, something that I was thinking about, is that we don't come from, as Asians, we don't come from film industry naturally. We come from, professionals of them like lawyers and doctors and, other parts. So it's not encouraged as much within our family. So therefore, it's probably a part-time thing, or it's probably something that we do on the side. It's never taught as a main job, and therefore it's always going to be a problem because we're not going to have enough.
Weber, very quickly, I will get back to you now. Do you want to just quickly come in on that?
I really don't know how to put this in one perspective, because cinema for me is not global, it's regional. You pick up stories from various places and you get actors that suit that story, and the impact is global. So if you can make a Gandhi in India with British actors, the impact will they're still played on Independence Day every year. And if you can make a movie with Tabbu, I think Meera Nair's film, which is with Irfan Khan, Namesake, or it was Monsoon Wedding. What was the name?
Namesake.
Made with Indian actors, but the impact was global. So it's what suits the story, and the characters accordingly will fit in. It doesn't have to be regional or global, or Indian or British actors working in India don't have to go to work in India. You can work in UK. Sex Education has a lot of Indian actors. It's a show on Netflix. It has a lot of Indian actors, and she's on L'Oreal, brand L'Oreal. So you have people who are now transcending cultures according to the storyline.
Okay, interesting. Naila, you want to come back on that one?
Yeah, you won't get a British actor working in... Yeah, even Bridgerton.
Bridgerton,
so
yes. You've got them now slowly creeping. Naila.
I don't think it's an accent issue, because good actors can actually change their accents. It was just a language barrier.
They can, yeah.
So I don't think an accent is an issue. I had a girl from Glasgow that did a film, and when you watch her back in the film, I wouldn't even know that she's from Glasgow. She changed her accent. It's just a language issue, not the accent issue.
Because there's so many...
I think it's the practice.
So many actors.
You have to work
very
on the
quickly.
accent, sorry.
Look,
that's the actor's job.
Hello.
You can manage that.
We need to speak one at a time, because otherwise our lovely audience can't hear three people in one go. Very quickly, Sid, come back on that, and I want to move.
What you said, right?
Go ahead, Sid.
Yeah, I think actors have to act the character. So technically, the skill is that to pick up accents, pick up languages, pick up acting skills, and even if you're doing a part-time day job, you have to go on building on it, whether by short films or going to a theater company, get your friends in, because once you face the auditions, there is no mercy.
Right, moving on very quickly on that note, actually. If you look at institutions, I mean, I often get this on my show as well when people ask me. If you look at institutions like RADA, Lambda, and very, very sort of prestigious institutions in Britain, making people become actors, producers, and so forth, do you find that they are able now, or are able to understand the different cultural styles of film being made, and actually, should we say, groom the people for certain styles of cinema? And if so, do they or don't they? I'll go this way around. Weber, what do you think?
My experiences were at Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute, which is in New York. It's similar to RADA. There's a Lee Strasberg in London as well. And they train you in such a way that your personality can suit a particular character. Because I can't play a black guy, I can't play unfortunately, Indian guy. But the thing is, if you suit the role, that's what the training is all about. So the plays that you do, the agents that they bring on to see your plays, obviously, and then the agents look at you and say, okay, this guy with this accent, with this way, may suit this particular character. And that's how you're trained even in acting school. Obviously, versatility is one of them. But what is your strength as an actor, and what is your weakness? So you don't show the weakness, you show the strength. So as far as my school was concerned, it helped me bridge that with the agents.
Lovely.
I don't know about RADA.
Time is really getting short, so I've got to move on. I do apologise, because I've just been given the signal. We've got a few minutes left. Go ahead, Kavino. What do you think? Do you think that there is are schools now, international schools, taking into account cultural Bollywood styles of film and other international films for actors?
Sorry.
Looking at institutions that are like, say, Lambda, RADA, are they taking into account different genres of films for people who are wanting to go into different areas of cinema, not necessarily all wanting to play Shakespeare, some want to go straight into Bollywood, some want to represent. Are they taking this into account more?
Absolutely. I think see, one of the most important thing, which we discussed earlier on, is not by going to one of these schools, it's not just about the prestige, it's not just about attending these schools because of the name or qualification. It's also about the fact that you're going to build your network. It's how you find your job, because quite often, you know, by the time you finish, you would have developed such a great friendship that one of them would go somewhere and they would point out to you and say, you know, I know someone who could do this role. So it's all about expanding that network. And I think, you know, whilst the skills is very important, the talent, everything comes along, but it's also how you make that connection and how you make the progress.
Excellent. Naila, what do you think?
I totally agree with both answered what I was going to say.
Taking the words out of your mouth, have they?
Basically.
Well, the schools train you for that.
I don't think the English institutions really cater directly for Bollywood. They cater for good actors. So then if you want to go and represent in Bollywood, you need to put up those extra effort of the language and other things. But they teach you acting skills. They teach you the core strengths, which, as you said, if you're a good actor, you can change your accents. But that's what we're trying to talk, that even if you're not doing something full-time, you have to go on practicing that.
Okay.
And the school gives you a big platform to help you there.
You have one sentence, because time is really cracking on.
So basically, if I'm casting, I don't really look at where they've come from. They just have to fit the role and be a good actor. And
which leads me to my last question before we go. I want to go around the panel in one sentence, please. What one piece of advice would you give anybody out there listening to you today that they should hold on to for the rest of their lives, that really kept you going and to get to where you are today? What one piece of advice would that be? One sentence, Vibhav, go for it.
Honestly know your own talent.
Go ahead.
Persistence and perseverance.
never give up, keep going, and one day you could get there.
And I think you should wake up every morning with that fire that, yeah, today I'll try again. And as long as your dream is alive, you will find a way. And wherever you are, I think that's the most important.
Excellent. Well, look, it's been very, very thought-provoking. I've very, very much enjoyed talking to you all. I hope you all out there have learnt a little bit or a thing or two from this particular discussion, not only about representation, but about how people who are trying to promote actors and trying to promote the media out there, what they've got to do, because they've all got a big task on their hands, which we've heard. I hope you've enjoyed it. My name's Deep Raja. As I said, I do Gold Drive. Each and every one of these people have really struggled to where they've got to and have really, really made it. I'd like you to thank them all. And we've got about a minute, very, very quickly. I can open one question to the audience if you want, very quickly. Can we do it? Yes, sir. I think we need to get a mic across. We've got literally about 5 minutes. I wanted to just leave it very quick.
I have a quick question. I have a quick question with Sid. What do you find comparing with Indian actors, comparing with, if you compare with the English actors, which one do you find it easy to work with, and the talent-wise, and what sort of story you prefer? You primarily focusing more on Indian-based audience or Western-based audience?
I'll answer your second question first. Because I live here and I've been living in India also, I'm trying to represent with my films the coexisting of all the culture, both the Indian and the British cultures, or international, because any big cities, even in India, is a multicultural. So you tell stories which catches the multiculturalism, because for that we definitely needs to have actors or characters build on that. And on the second aspect of where I find better, whether it's not India or England, it's just about that person, how comfortable he is in front of the camera, how confident he is. And if I'm putting a new actor or upcoming young actor in front of a experienced Bollywood actor on the stage and have a very tight deadline with big money riding on it, I want him to perform. I can't give him too many takes, and the actor gets angry. So there are a lot of, that's why the background of the confidence, the practice, everything comes into play. So it's not about where you're from, it's about what you have inside.
Let's take one more question very, very quickly. Sir. Oh, no, it was you, yes, go ahead, please.
So Priyanka Chopra was asked when she left Bollywood, one of the prime reasons for leaving, and she said pay disparity between her and the male actor. Can any of you comment about pay disparity between male and female actors, either here or in the Indian film industry?
Naila, do you want to, didn't quite hear that one again, very quickly in one sentence, they're having a problem hearing that.
Pay disparity between male and female actors.
Disparity between male and female actors, especially in Hollywood or Bollywood. Very quickly, go ahead.
I can.
There's a lot of disparity in India, there's no doubt about that. Not only in acting, but in any field, as is anywhere in the world, which is unfortunate. How do we change that? That's the everlasting question. And I think change is from all of us, but that's unfortunately the truth. But if you consciously make an effort, then yes, there will be change. But right now, there isn't that much of a change, neither here nor there. That's the hard truth.
Right.
So
we've got to wrap this up. Literally 30 seconds.
I just wanted to actually also talk about the fact that female in the film industry is so important. And I think we as Asian females, the underrepresented, we have our own struggles in terms of being a female and then mother and then actually, trying to get into the industry. So there's so many differences already. I mean, no offense, but men can just pick up and go, whereas we have to look at so many other things, families and father, mother, all the things that we need to please before we actually step our foot outside, and then the society, all the rest of it. So there is a difference, and it's huge. And that starts from within.
Okay, so I think that's a wrap. Thank you very, very much, my panel, for today, and thank you all for listening. See you again.